I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, do we have any additions, deletions, or reordering of the agenda? No? Okay. At this time, we will have public comment on non-agenda items. If you would like to make a public comment, please step to the podium and we'll start with this side over here. No takers? This side over here. All done with public comment. Okay. Now we're going to have a presentation for Path to College. Christine? Yes. Mhm. No?
Hello.
Check, check. Okay. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? It's such a privilege to be here today to talk about Path to College and really to talk about what you all are creating in Lake Worth. I'm giving you an update. I'm telling you about where we're at, where we're going, what we need. And so I'm looking forward to your questions. And I just want to thank Joan and Chris also for their partnership as we've been walking this path together, and Emily too. Okay, so why did you all invest in a center for students in Lake Worth Beach, and why did you give it to Path to College? Well, because we have a great mission and a great impact. We've been working in the area for 9 years. We started in Lake Worth Beach. Many of you know I'm a resident for 25 years, and we've helped our flagship program students graduate at 100% graduation rate. 100% have gotten into four-year schools. We've got 60% full ride scholarships, over 5 million scholarships awarded, and that will help increase lifetime earnings by 58 million. So now we have this opportunity to open the Catapult Center, and we are very, very close. And what I want to just highlight is that your investment in the Catapult Center in 1213 Lake Avenue and your honoring of Madeline, the former CRA board member, is really more about not just helping students get into college, but it's more about helping students get the support they need so that they can become leaders and increase their earnings, which I think is a really important piece of what we do and what Lake Worth Beach needs right now. So at the Catapult Center, we're going to continue to do what we have done for many years. We have a flagship program that's a 3-year mentorship program that just has incredible outcomes. We've been serving another 1,000 students in community workshops each year. And we're going to be launching a new program at Catapult in the next year very soon, where we'll have a 10-session process for any student who needs it to come in, take a career aptitude test, sit with a college coach, and create an individualized plan for college and career that aligns with where the industry is growing. So where the talent gaps are, and we're using the business development boards, driving industries report to make sure we're aligned with that. So want to make sure they get into great degree paths and careers that pay, that there are jobs. Very excited to bring this here. So here we are. This has been a long process. People told me I was crazy. People said that when I started Path to College as well, but I'm so glad that we undertook this huge effort to get this place up and running. We are almost done with construction. The elevator, which has been a big factor that's been delaying things, is being installed right now. And we're going to go to final inspection soon. We've had some, like any construction project, we've had some unexpected realities that we've had to deal with. And I just want to bring you all into that process so everyone's aware of where we've been, what we've been dealing with, why it's taken longer than we would have liked it to take. So one, we knew that we were going to do a full tenant improvement. We were so lucky and so honored to be able to take on this lease at this building that was renovated into a vanilla box and to take it to the next level. What we have found is that there's been some surprises. One of them being that we wanted to immediately increase the occupancy of the building. It was previously zoned for 46, and we thought, this is 5,000 square feet. We've got a lot of need in the community. How can we get the occupancy up? And so we did that, and it took some time to get that through. And then as we've gone through the process, that occupancy increase has triggered some other increases around life safety, fire sprinklers, structural needs, which is totally fine. Some of it we expected, some of it we didn't. And then there's just certain things about the building. Because the building is old, there's certain things that have come up, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware. But most importantly, I think to emphasize is that we are absolutely committed to making sure this building is just absolute best standards in safety and passing all inspections. It's been the guiding star to all of it. So again, the occupancy change kind of put us in a new code chapter. And while we've had wonderful partners who have, helped us with the design scope and whatnot, there's certain things that we didn't know we would need. So we thought we may need fire sprinklers. Fine. When the fire sprinklers were needed, all of a sudden we needed a very high-tech backflow system. Some of you do this for a living, and you may know. I help kids for a living, so this was all new to us, and seemingly new to even like some of our construction partners. When we went to put the backflow system in, we needed to get a fire line to go to city water. Unfortunately, at that time, the water line from the building that was underground, it just collapsed. It's an old building, cast iron pipes, sort of like kind of latent infrastructure needs in the building that nobody could see. So we had to do an emergency repair. Next, we've learned now that we need to have a fire hydrant. And this fire hydrant is really just for the city, and it's part of code, and we're happy to have it. But I did want to alert that this fire hydrant is something that we have to put in and will be of great use to the entire block, the residents behind the building as well. And so again, community safety, number one. So like I said, we've solved for some things, and then there's a few other things. The stair in the back, when we first got the inspection and we were giving the building, we passed CO, right? Like we passed CO and got our CO. But there's some things that have been brought up, like maybe that staircase needs some mitigation to make sure it's really, really up to snuff with the best life safety standards. So we've had to add a railing to it as well, to make sure that it will pass any inspection. We repaired that cast iron pipe. And then internally, there's some questions about the internal staircase and the fence, and we'll need to have that inspected later as well. Later, we also hope to enclose the front alcove, which often attracts all types during the day. You guys know what I'm talking about. And so the last thing is the roof. When we took on the project, we thought that there had been a lot of roof work. In fact, there had been a lot of roof work, but we've gotten an outside consultant come in because we had some water found in the roof that was dripping down. And we think that there may need some work done. And there's a consultant came in and has a report on that. So that's another thing we're going to have to deal with at some point. And then I think the fire line, I can't remember if it's still, no, yeah, it's with the utilities department. So they're reviewing our materials for that fire line. And these are just like the last piece of the process to get to final CO. And then all of these have costs. Looking at all of kind of the unexpected latent infrastructure, life safety and code costs that have come into the project that really could not have been projected. It's about $127,000. So I want to kind of give you that cost breakdown. And I also want to give you a breakdown of the entire project. So those costs added to our construction costs are about 1.44 million. And then total to open, it's 1.7 million. So there's been quite an effort to bring in funding into the area to create this center that's going to be such a benefit to our wonderful town here. And then just a little bit of where we're at. We have almost everything that we need. We have some amazing partners that have gotten us this far, including the state of Florida and many local foundations that do impact and philanthropy work. So there's a lot of people who really want to see this town succeed. Our team has put in a lot of work to bring this funding in as a smaller agency. And we even got a commitment for an endowment to pay for the overhead of operations at the building for the long term. So we want to be here for a really long time. We still have a bit of a gap. So we have 1.62 pledged. And as you could see, where am I going? Went the wrong way. We're going to need 1.7, or probably even a little bit more once we get in there to get it fixed. So, just a review of the unknowns, the roof, what's going to be needed. It's hard to understand the costs of that. Fire line waiting on the utilities review, and, all of it we're working on, and we're trying to get open as soon as possible. I'd like to put out there that given what we seek to provide to the city, we want to explore whether there's an opportunity to get some mitigating support for some of these extra costs, especially when it comes to changes that we've had to make in order to ensure life safety, not just for the students of Lake Worth Beach that we'll be serving, but also for the broader community. There's a lot of ways to, cut up that pie. I'm kind of curious of what that may look like. And I just want to highlight again that there's a huge return that, you have my absolute commitment to this city and this town. I'm really excited to get in there and truly change lives and trajectories with an increase of 300 students in year one and up through 1,500 to 3,000 students in the next couple of years. It's going to be a real driver of all things good in our community. And there's the stories behind it. It's the student stories. And I have the privilege of knowing the students and seeing what they're up against and helping them really launch into school with full rides. I have done a lot of research in this area. We have a pretty good graduation rate. But our college enrollment rate sits about 32%. So that's 2 or 4 year programs. There's a huge gap in brain talent that we're very excited to develop. And I think we're going to move the needle on that for our town. I will say that we're going to bring in a lot of corporate partners. We're going to have a partnership with Career Source Palm Beach County. We've talked about co-locating a career counselor there. And most importantly, we're going to increase the lifetime earnings of our students here. And my goal is that they can stay here and that they can buy homes here and live here. So we've got a complete construction. We're going to launch our programs and we're going to scale our impact. I am very, very grateful to have, your confidence in me because this is the honor of a lifetime and I want to continue this partnership. I think it's going to be a long time going and wanted to explore what would that look like to have more partnership from the CRA in the city to just close the gap on some of those unexpected costs. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? Let's start with this. Any questions? I want to thank you for your presentation. We've been in this process and been a partner, to Path to College for many years. And I remember when she first came before us and we said, of course, this is something that we want to do. Joan, could you just give me a little background on the CRA's contribution so far? And I don't know if you have that ready, but probably.
I know that the CRA purchased the building for $375. I don't remember what year that was, $375,000. And then we partnered with a foundation and we put in another $600,000 for the renovation. Because when we got in there, there was no windows, there were no floors, there were nothing at all.
There had been a fire, right?
Yes. Many years ago, there was a fire.
And it was an SWA grant that helped fund it?
No, it was a private foundation.
Oh, I thought that.
I can't remember the name of the foundation, but
Do we have current costs that we also contribute at this point towards the building?
yeah, we pay the non-ad val taxes. We pay the insurance. I think that's about it. I'm missing something, Chris.
Okay. And Lula owns the building, right?
The Cultural Renaissance Foundation owns the building, correct?
Yeah, so Christine, I'm always just such a huge fan and huge fan of you and of the project. So I don't know, I didn't remember seeing on the list whether Palm Beach County Schools is a partner in this.
They're an absolute partner. We have an MOU with the school district, the data sharing agreement. We work with the schools very closely.
Any fiscal contribution?
We haven't ever requested one from the school district.
Okay.
I think there's opportunity. We have sold services to different schools individually. The reason I started this was because I was a classroom teacher and have a deep understanding of just how little they have and how, we've seen with the teacher salary negotiations and layoffs to come. I think our schools need us. Yeah.
Right. No, I don't disagree. I mean, the reason, so I work in an agency that's dependent on ad valorem taxes. I know the CRA is dependent on ad valorem taxes, and I think the future is kind of an unknown right now on what our budgets are going to look like until after November, I would assume. And so I would hope that we would still have an improvement grant program and those type of programs after, we assess our future as a CRA. So I mean, when I think of this improvement of this building, it does kind of fit into that program, right? So but obviously it would be a board decision, but I mean, that's kind of the context I have to think in right now is as the decisions we make right now have to position us to be able to deal with whatever the future holds. And it's just way too uncertain right now. And the last thing that I want to send up here in the speech, the 100% supportive of this program and what you're doing out there. Just don't know what that looks like at the moment. So I didn't want you to just walk away without any kind of feedback. But that's just kind of, as a CRA, we're going to have some decisions to make, I feel. Maybe not, we'll see how it turns out. But the schools are exempt from that. I know they have our own budget challenges. They will not have that budget challenge. That's why I asked that question, right? Because they're exempt from that homestead changes if those occur. So
Is there a moratorium on the community impact program? You said that there's a grant program for community
we have
impact.
improvement grants that Chris
Mhm.
manages,
Mhm.
and we've got one we're hearing on the discussion agenda item today. That it's matching, you need matching, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But that's a program that we do
Mhm.
implement.
It's still running.
That was one of my
It's not running.
concerns.
I was wondering where
No,
running out.
we've closed out for the year. We've used all the money for this year.
And we traditionally do not give money to nonprofits. And so that would be a definite change for the
Is that
CRA.
right?
Yes, that's not something that we do. And also, even if we decided this was something that we'd want to, we'd have to put it on the agenda at a future time. And we would have to have it as an action agenda item, and we'd have to get more background. So while we can't make a decision tonight, we certainly can let you know that we are supportive of your program and we admire everything that you've done. It's just that at this time, our finances are in such a disarray, and I think the world's finances in the state of Florida will be in a disarray until November, but I certainly would be willing for us to revisit this at another time. I think that we have a consensus that we're certainly willing to help. We just don't know how we'd be able to do that.
Sure.
You know.
So what I'm hearing is it may be better to request to be on the agenda after the November election.
Or to stay in touch and work with staff and see what opportunities they'll be able to. They'll be a good conduit for you to understand how our budget for next year is very much dependent on the election in November.
Sure.
Not just ours, but ours and most other public bodies, so.
Yeah, no, see, of course, your budget will be dependent upon what happens, but you'll approve your budget in August or September.
Right.
All right, so the election, if something passes, would only impact budgets in 2028.
Correct. But from a planning perspective.
Right. Right.
are things that everybody would have to be
Right.
looking at and seeing how funds are allocated.
So
I understand. Thank
let
you.
me just make sure I'm hearing correctly. The community improvement grants are finished for this fiscal year. Your budget will be approved August, September. The November election will determine what happens in 2028. Which starts, when's your fiscal year start?
In October.
Okay, so it would be October 2027. So conceivably, if there's that community improvement grant will still exist from October 2026 to 2027.
Yes, it will.
Okay, so I mean, I think given that, I think maybe our conversation may open around what can be done as of October next year, if you know that that's already possible.
Yes.
But, and I'll just throw another wrinkle, David Tolsis, General Counsel. So because the building is owned by Community Renaissance Foundation, that may be viewed differently as a private property owner coming forward and requesting a grant. Because that is a building that's owned by an affiliate with entity, the CRA. So I think if the board was to do anything, that would probably just be some type of separate funding outside of your typical grant program.
So let me just make sure I understand what you just said. The building is owned by an affiliate, not the nonprofit, Lula?
No, the building is owned by the Community Renaissance Foundation, which is an entity created by the CRA.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's a
It's a
nonprofit.
not-for-profit
Mhm.
entity. So what I'm saying is that because that entity isn't necessarily making the request, but you're a tenant of that building,
Mhm.
that it would likely have to be considered outside of the typical grant program, which, as stated before, isn't provided to not-for-profit entities and is typically provided to individuals who own their property. So I'm just from a legal perspective that, you know, we'd have to look at some other potential avenues if it's something that the board wanted to look into. And I think I've said enough.
So we'll explore any avenues. If you have any ideas, please reach out to us.
I have a couple ideas. Am I free to continue with some of those
Sure.
thoughts? Okay. I think the fact that we're a nonprofit providing a free service, I think there's some value there that should be considered. As far as the ownership conversation, so our intention is to own the building at some point. Because we want to be there for the long haul, and we structured our agreement that way. And we have a purchase rider, so free lease purchase rider, to take over the building at some point. And I guess my concern is just wanting to serve students. Like I just really take a student first approach, and so $90,000 is pretty small gap to fill when it comes to the comparable value brought into the community. And I'd like to be able to start with serving students. If I have to reallocate funding from my staff salaries who are there to serve students, that means less students served. So I want to make sure that's very clear too. And I'm very interested in learning about alternative or, innovative ways to find a little bit of funding for some of this like infrastructure improvements in the building. I think it's important to get kind of that buy-in from the city. And I'm also curious, and forgive my ignorance, because truly all of it's a learning experience all the time. But I'm curious from the CRA perspective, doing development is one piece of it. Is there a partnership with the city that could happen to help fund this gap sooner than later?
I would probably recommend that you do a presentation with the commission
Mhm.
and lay this at their door
Mhm.
because they certainly have more money than us.
Mhm.
And I think that they would be a better partner than us, but we certainly will partner with them on many things.
Mhm.
So I really would strongly recommend that you go before the commission and lay this out for them because they may have more ideas and more resources than we do.
Mhm.
So maybe they could put you on the agenda before.
Okay. And would you all officially support that request of the city for Path to College if we did that?
I cannot say that because you're a nonprofit and that's not something that we've ever done. No matter how we structure it, no matter what we say, this is going to be something different for us. And it's going to open us up to other nonprofits coming forth to say, you've done this before. I think that you should look at and do it for us. And is that our mission? And will we get a return from a nonprofit because they may not be paying any ad valorem taxes? So I have kind of thought about this and kind of looked at it from several angles. It's not that I don't want to help. I just don't know how we can do that.
The other group I didn't see on your list of partners is the Children's Services Council. Are they on your list?
The Children's Services Council generally focuses on early childhood education. They do very little funding in the adolescent space. We've been funded by them before when we were slightly smaller. They have a special grant for emerging nonprofits. Yeah. So can I ask another question? I've kind of two more questions. One is, if we had ownership of the building, what would those prospects look like? And maybe this is a question of you, David.
I think as the chairperson said, that the problem with funding for improvements to buildings owned by not-for-profits is that the property is exempt from ad valorem taxes. So whatever funds that the CRA gets do not come from those properties because they don't pay taxes. So historically, the CRA has not funded properties owned by not-for-profit entities. The city has many resources and is able to fund different programs, whereas the CRA is primarily limited to funding bricks and mortar projects. So, while I think that the things that you're looking to finish at the building are things that, may come under, the CRA's legal authority to fund. I think from a legal perspective, if there was something you wanted to package together to present to the executive director to review to see what funding is available under our budget, that would be one avenue. But historically, we haven't funded a not-for-profit because they don't pay taxes. In this instance, we bought the building, we conveyed it to the Cultural Renaissance Foundation, the hope of providing space for your organization. So I don't think we've necessarily lost anything in the way of taxes because ever since we bought it, we haven't been collecting taxes. But it just it's a different animal. So
Sure. Could the CRA directly fund repairs for the building that they own?
I think that's what I'm saying. I think tonight, I think the board doesn't have anything to consider. So from the standpoint of you making some type of formal request, that would be something you could do from a legal perspective. I don't want to step on the executive director's toes, but
No, I'm going to ask you anyway.
yeah. So, but then, you asked if the board would support any requests you made to the city commission. And I don't think they can do that tonight, but if they saw what you were requesting, then that might be something that they could consider at that time.
Okay. So just again, pardon me, I just want to stay clear. I can request of the CRA team funding for repairs for the building under their ownership. And it's suggested that I ask the city for support.
And one other thing, I think anything that is provided would probably be subject to the existing agreement that we have with respect to the sale of the property as well.
So can you say more?
I'm not prepared to get into all the details tonight. I think, general direction is where I'm coming from right now, but and I don't want to speak for Joan anymore. I think I've done enough. So I'm going to step back and I think your best conversation would be to talk to Joan.
Okay. Well, I want to, I try to be thorough and I try to fully understand. So I want to thank you all for well, it's a lot of things coming at me that I've never done before. And you always have to ask for clarity to make sure that what you think you're hearing is what you hear. So I appreciate your, grace with me a little bit. And I appreciate your investment in the students of our community. They're our greatest resource, truly. And so many of them fall through cracks every day. just because of the lack of resources in this town. So, and in our schools, which is across the board an issue. So it is truly an honor to be part of an initiative really trying to drive home impact in that area. So thank you for your partnership. Thank you for the clarity, David. And we'll talk. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Next, we have the CRA revenue presentation.
It's okay. Oh, do y'all like your shirts?
Very much.
Good.
We're wearing them to the minimum spot.
Oh, great idea.
So those of you who did not get here, before the meeting, we all looked at our shirts and said we can wear these to the Dominican spot. So please wear them on that day for their grand opening. And hopefully we can take a good picture. All right, 17.
Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Sigh of relief. So for those of you who weren't there, this was a picture taken, what was it, last week or the week before for the CLT dedications. These were 8 units that were sold to income qualified families earning 80% or less of area median income. And we were joined by a number of people from the county and obviously the city commission. And we have more to come. So our taxable values increased approximately 9% this year. So that's something very positive. Our tax exempt value is almost up to $180 million. So there's a lot of things that are not obviously on our tax rolls. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the values. As you can see, there's a considerable increase in homes between $100,000 and $500,000, which helps us considerably. We have relatively good numbers as 500 to $1 million goes up, and then of course over $1 million. And under that, you will see the single family residential breakdown. We have 1,221 total properties, 48% claim a tax exemption. And when you look at those numbers down there, that's when things get a little scary because the majority of our homes are between $100,000 and $250,000. So we're probably looking at somewhere between at least $1 million and $1.7 million decrease if the tax exempt $250,000 tax exemption does go through. We were helped this year considerably by some of the larger projects, and next year we hopefully will have Madison Terrace and also Lake Worth Station come on board, so that might help us a little bit. As you can see, our taxable values have been rising pretty steadily over the last few years. But that could all change. Madison Terrace, they are working on their second building right now, and I think they're moving along quite quickly. That was a LIHTC project, meaning that the majority of homes in there, the majority of apartments are for people 80% or less of area median income. We did give them a local match for their LIHTC, plus we gave them a $200,000 infrastructure grant, 176 units. Development costs somewhere around $45 million. So our public-private investment was 49 to 1, which is very good. We also have Lake Worth Station, which is up at 10th Avenue and G Street. That one is workforce and up, so it has some market rate in it. We gave them a $200,000 public infrastructure grant. That will be 91 units, 78 being workforce. Workforce being 140% or more of area median income. Public-private investment to that was 150 to 1. Some other projects in the district that you're familiar with, obviously the Gulf Stream is coming along rather well. I believe they're working on the second building now that's already there. The CRA gave or will be giving over a number of years $3 million for infrastructure and also a TIF rebate to 2031, but they have to have the entire project finished before any kind of TIF rebate comes into play. Public-private partnership is 35 to 1. Village Flats, it did take us 6 years, but I'm happy to say that 1301 Lake Avenue, which will be 4 units, again, for people making 120% or less of area median income, just got its TCO the other day. And 1401 and 1215, which have the majority of the units, just got their fencing put up, and they've already started some of the early construction on that. So they're moving along rather quickly, thank goodness. Other projects in the district, the Guillaume Law Office down on Federal is coming along really, really well. As we know, Ruru's, they're trying to get open hopefully soon. The front landscape looked a lot better. No, okay. We'll talk. Pomoda's opened, Cruz Coffee House did an expansion. That's over on East Coast Street, and right next door to Cruz, there's going to be a pizzeria. If you haven't been to Cruz, I think like everybody who's under 20 goes there. And if you go, there's like a huge line. I mean, the coffee's really good, but wow, I feel old when I go in there. We also have the Colony, which some of you were at the grand opening. Also Bob's Auto Repair on Dixie Highway. That is, I believe the architect is here in the room. And we have some other projects that are out there, as you can see. So this is South H by 6. This will be the Pinnacle project. Pinnacle purchased all this property from Dixie Capital, and they will be building 91 units. Again, this is a LIHTC project. We will be giving the match for it, approximately a $42 million project. Average people making 60% or less, but everybody in the building has to make 80% or less of AMI. We've had a lot of people who wrote to us about Madison Terrace being very happy that we were doing low-income housing, but what about us that are not seniors? So this is hopefully our answer to it. Their first round going in front of the county commission was not successful for their particular program. They've done some rescoring on their packet, and they put in another ask, which is slightly lower than the one that they had, and we're pretty confident that that probably will go through. Wamota's coming along nicely. All the staff at the city, including the CRA, just got the final submission, which has all of the rest of the pieces that staff had answered and wanted more information for. So we do have that. Chihuly actually will be doing a special exhibit, not only designing the inside of the museum, but actually doing a special rotating exhibit for them. And we are expecting the permits to be done at the end of August. Quite a number of home dedications between Habitat, Community Land Trust. We had some from community partners. If you could all put in your calendars, June 25th at 10 a.m., we're doing a dedication of 204 South E. That is a Habitat project. We have 8 projects we'll be closing by the end of June. And we have 4 projects currently under construction that will produce 16 more new ownership units. Here are some of the properties we bought the majority of them were vacant, but we did have one that we needed to demo. Total cost for all of these is 630,000. 6 housing units will be created on the 2 lots purchased at 302 through 304. Well, you can go up to 8, but we're recommending like 5 and 6 because of the parking situation over there. And then we also have some 116 and 115 E and F that will be part of a larger project that actually has the majority of land on Lucerne Avenue. It's kind of known as the Rice property over on the west side. We haven't done an RFP for that yet. Some other Habitat homes, dedications. You can see the 2-story villas that the Community Land Trust is working on your lower right corner there. These are all Habitat and Community Land Trust properties. They're all happen to be home ownership. And with all of these together, we have about 20 units pending. So still a lot of work to do on those. We just did an RFP for 30 South K, 126 South J. Unfortunately, we only got 2 responses, which we will be reviewing and bringing our recommendations to the board probably next month. You can see an aerial of what I consider the Rice property on the right-hand side west of Dixie. This could provide up to 40 additional mixed income housing units, with I think about half of them having to be affordable. Not ready to do that RFP quite yet, but it's coming up next year. So this kind of, I think, does a really good job of laying out where I think the majority of our input and our projects and our money has gone to. West of the tracks, obviously we have Village Flats. Took a little while, but we're getting there. The Standard, which was done by Juan Conton. We have the Bohemian, we have the Arts Lofts, which the CRA did originally back in 2011. We also have the West Village, which was also over there, and all of these have some form of affordable housing with them. On to grants. Chris has been kept extremely busy all year, as you can see. Look at all those grants there. We had a total of, I think, it was definitely over 20. The majority of them on Dixie Corridor in the downtown. We did have 4 on the west side and 3 in other locations, which is great. Definitely focusing on Dixie Highway. It's definitely starting to get better over time, especially in the south area. You can see the construction on the Guillaume Law Firm at 702 South Dixie. Project and property received 2 grants from us. That's at 932. That building turned out to be incredibly beautiful. We have the Dominican spot that's doing a grand opening soon. And also we have it's not quite done yet, but you can see the funeral services at 1612 South Dixie, which the board approved. Moving on, there was another property that the CRA did, I believe, facade and then tenant improvement down at 302 Lucerne. That's looking really good. 704, they did the 2nd floor on that building in the downtown. And then we have 132 Federal Highway, which is going to be a wellness center. We did give a grant to Roostigo for some outdoor improvements. And then on the right hand, you'll see just a snippet of some of the signage grants that we've done. I think it's probably one of the better things that we've done to really bring some proper signage to the city as a whole. On the left-hand side, we're talking about road improvements here. So last year, we paid for the remilling and the resurfacing, sidewalks, curb and gutter for all of the roads that are in between Lake and Lucerne on the west side between B and H. And as you can see, there's a nice picture at the bottom there. Not only do they have bicycle renderings on there so you can, see where you can ride your bike, but also have actual spaces that were painted for us. This year and on tonight's agenda is a request to use the money that we didn't use last year, put it together with the money we budgeted this year, and excuse me, and do $700,000 worth of improvements that are taking place on the majority of D Street. I think you can probably see the potholes on D Street right there. It's pretty bad. And they also don't have a continuous sidewalk over there. So it's definitely something that was needed, and hopefully we'll have money in next year's budget to do some more, because the roads, especially on the west side, which I'm more familiar with, I guess, definitely need some love. Downtown garage is moving along. Last night, the commission did a quasi judicial hearing for the first reading. It went through, and the second one will be June 30th. City staff still working on, obviously, a lot of the little parts of it. We're waiting for the city commission to make a few decisions on a few little items before we move forward with getting the GMP from the contractor. This is just a quick snippet to kind of show you some of the impact that we have. My favorite is Deco Green. So before we actually purchased this property with line of credit funds, sold it for what we paid for it, and then Deco Green was built. And the taxable value of that entire property was $1.3 million. And now it's up to $27 million. So great investment on our part. We have some similar ones, not as great of an impact, but all these little infill projects definitely help. We have Herff Jones, went from a little over $1 million to 3.2. Palm Beach Modern Auctions, which also looks fantastic, went from 575 to 1.5. And luckily, all these projects went through, and the values are going up, and that's exactly what our job here is. So this is a list of all our grants received from 2010. I'm happy to say that including this year, we're up to $47 million brought in, thanks to my staff and you guys for all your support. Yes, the majority of them is in housing, but we do have some that is for infrastructure, special events, and of course, demolition, which we have to do from time to time. Major funding sources, CFP funding, we've gotten that 3 years in a row. We've gotten money from solid waste for trash cans, Department of Cultural Affairs, who hopefully will come back with some money next year. Florida Department of Transportation. We also put in for 2 grants last month to help fund Circuit, to expand it, because believe it or not, the waiting time has gotten over 10 minutes, and it's just exploded really as far as requests are concerned. So we're hoping that next year, we'll have some money from a grant, hopefully, and some more involvement by the city, and perhaps we can make it a citywide service. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Joan. Does anyone have any questions?
Presentation.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, I didn't finish it till today. Or I would have sent it to you.
Press. Anybody eyeball, I'm sure it's right. But it would be great to have that, so that we can use it to support it, see and support things that are happening.
Absolutely. We did do a report to the city commission 2 weeks ago, I think it was. So a lot of that information was given to them as well. But we'll get it to you by tomorrow.
The next item on the agenda is the minutes from May 12th. Please review, and then I'll wait for a motion.
Move approval of the minutes of May 12th, 2026 as distributed.
I'll second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have on the consent agenda, interlocal agreement with the city for roadway improvements. And I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have our action agenda. CRA commercial grant. Chris.
All right. For the record, Chris Abros, Lake Worth Beach CRA. As we mentioned earlier, we just wrapped up the intake of most of our grant programs for fiscal year 2025, 2026. The end of May was the cutoff. That last week, we received multiple applications for the one we're reviewing tonight, and there's going to be another one that you're going to review next month as well. So that was not able to get placed on this agenda. We also got a lot of small signage grants. We're still going to accept signage grant applications throughout the summer because they're so small, and we can continue to do so basically up till August. But there was a lot that came through. But the larger grants, such as the one tonight, we're not accepting again until October if funding is available. So this one here is for 129 North Federal Highway. The downstairs of this building, which is about a 3,300 square foot space. The applicants, the owner of the property, Mr. Robert Miller, and his tenant, Jimmy Dassler, are here to discuss what the project's going to be, basically rebuilding or a build out of the interior space for their new, it's going to be called the Second Avenue North, tentative Second Avenue North Arcade and Bar. Most of these improvements are going to be for flooring, drywall, painting, mechanical, electrical, HVAC, everything, because as you see from the pictures, it's pretty much a blank space right now. So they'll be building space out over the summer, and they've requested CRA assistance through the interior grant program to help based on the quotes and the scope of work they provided. It's going to exceed $100,000, which is why staff is recommending the maximum amount of $50,000 to help with assisting with the build out. Both Jimmy and Robert are here tonight to speak about the project. And unless you have any questions for me, that's all I have.
Are the owners here? Step up, please.
How you guys doing? My name's Rob Miller. I'm the managing member for Villette Holdings, the owner of 129 North Federal. For the past decade, I've been investing in Lake Worth Beach, but this is the first time I'm bringing something in front of you guys. I've invested millions and millions of dollars. I currently have a project at 702 South Federal, which is the first Live Local program for the city. This particular property has been a little bit of a problem in the past. It's been a pretty challenging corridor right there. Previously was a bar called Willie's that's closed up and came to an end. We've been going back and forth with development services over the past year to get this bar approved with a accessory use of arcade games. Jimmy, who has signed a lease for the property a year ago, we've been going down this road for a little over a year now, came from a pinball machine bar down in Delray, Silver Ball. And I don't think you'll find a better tenant for this space than Jimmy. So I'm going to turn it over to Jimmy, and he'll give you a history and concept of the project.
Hello, how's everybody doing? The theme's been popular in most Jimmy Dassler. So the barcade theme's been popular in most downtown areas recently. I've been affiliated with Silver Ball Museum in Delray, if everybody's been there or have heard of the place. Great concept, great for the city. We do a lot of charitable events there, a lot of birthdays, bar mitzvahs, a lot of positive things for the community. They seem to enjoy it, something different. When I saw the location Mr. Miller owns, I thought it would be great. We came and looked at it. At the time, he was he's had the building on the market, willing to sell it. It's been a problem. And I gave him my proposal, the business model. We want to do something family friendly. We think he has the square footage. We think Lake Worth Beach could use something where, if you're leaving the beach and you're driving down, you look over and you see an arcade, you have the kids, maybe you would stop in, and spend a little more time in the city than normally just driving home after you leave the beach. It's been a problem. We finally got the liquor license approved to bring in, and that was April 1st. So unfortunately, we've been talking to Chris for over a year trying to get, CRA funds to help with the build out. The building's old. I went in, mold, completely gutted it. Whoever's been there before Mr. Miller owned it, just patched it. So when we went in, we found water leakage, we found mold. We didn't just want to bring kids into an environment where people get sick, ripped out the ACs, went basically down to the block. And my budget's very limited. So unfortunately, we found, now we're squeezing a little bit, but we don't want to do that. We want to do our build out the way we want. So we're hoping that the city would be willing to fund a project that's a little more family friendly, and we're not just coming in to just be another bar on the corner. But we did hear that it was closed. So we didn't know if maybe we can go through with the build out, maybe look over everything after we're done with the build out and it opens back up in October. You'd be willing to give Mr. Miller funds back for the build out. I don't know how the CRA works, never been in a program, and he's never approached the city as well. He's done everything out of his own pocket. So we're a little new to this, but if you can give us some direction on where to go, because we want to do the build out, we want to open. We don't want to wait another year. We've been a year into this already, so.
This is it. You guys get approved tonight.
We're
Don't
good?
worry about next year.
Okay, great. I don't know if anybody I don't know if anybody has any questions, or not familiar with the business model. It's, you come in, you pay at the door. We're gonna do something like $5, $10. All the games are on free play. Mostly like old cabinet games, Pac-Man, Galaga, something friendly. There will be some pool tables in there and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we don't have food, so we're going to work with the businesses surrounding the area to bring in for events and stuff. So we think it will benefit everybody in the area. But if you have any questions,
I got a question.
sure.
Is this part of, because I was doing a little snooping around research and I was seeing, is this part of the Barcade franchise, like Philly, New Haven, LA, Detroit, Financial District, New York City, or how does that work? I think
No,
Chris, you
that's-
gave a different name about what it would be like the Second Avenue.
That's the 10.
Okay, so how
Correct.
does that all work?
So the city, unlike Delray, the cities we come to realize are seems to have like certain rules with your ordinance and zoning. So because the way we're zoned and the way the amount of games I want to bring in, they look at me as being an arcade. But where we're at in square footage, they say I cannot be an arcade. So I have to be a bar first. So the commissioner, we talked to the commissioner and he was like, well, let's see, Carino as zoning, they all came up with a solution to be a bar with an accessory. So I'm allowed to use a third of my square footage that the actual game takes up to bring them in to exceed, 30 games, 40 games. They just can't be coin operated. They can't, you can't put money in every machine. So that's why the Silver Ball Delray concept works here, because it's entry. You just pay for the entry. You don't pay for the game. You just pay a door fee and you play all you want, stay as long as you want. But no, it's not a franchise. The barcade's just a vocabulary term used in reference to these new type of businesses in these areas.
Is there like, in terms of letters of support or opposition from nearby folks, neighbors, next door neighbors? Do you have any of that?
When we applied to get the liquor license, just to, bring everybody up to speed, no one was really happy, like Mr. Miller said, with that location being able to serve alcohol. Willie's, left a bad name for the neighborhood. So, they expressed their concerns when they came in. And I think the zoning seemed optimistic and want to believe me that what we're trying to do is more positive. So no, unfortunately, I didn't ask those same neighbors to come and speak for me positively, since they didn't seem to like a bar being there, period. So
So did you do it kind of any kind of feasibility study to get a sense of whether this idea that you're proposing is something people really want and are gonna?
from my experience in other venues that in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, the one in Delray that I help open and been affiliated with, they've all turned out to be a great asset to the community. Because if you come to Lake Worth and, I have kids, Mr. Miller has kids, I've, fished on Lake Worth Beach Pier for a long time, I grew up. So when you leave the beach, you just leave the town unless you're grabbing something to eat real quick. There's nothing really to attract families unless you do your art festivals, where they do it in the street, the concerts in Bryant Park and stuff like that. There's really nothing attracting families. So I wanted to bring something to do that. Yeah.
Thanks.
My brother, his name is Ryan Miller. He actually runs a local running club for in downtown Lake Worth Beach, the Lake Worth Run Club. I've spoken to him about this, and this would be one of the spots that they hit on their nightly meetups, whatever it is. Once,
The hash runs or
yeah, they do. It's a run club in Lake Worth. So I told him about it, and if I had to, I could get letters of support. Not a problem at all. So I just did not realize I was to bring letters of support. So
no, not required. I was just wondering because as reading through it, I was just thinking, okay, like Willie's Sports Bar didn't have a great rep. So I just was wondering, what are people saying about this? I mean, I know what you guys are proposing.
yeah,
But was just wondering how it's going to go down and, in terms of the neighborhood vibe.
I think it's gonna make that corner much better and safer. You're not gonna have an unoccupied space down there. So
Thanks.
So comment then question. So you actually pour a mean drink. I've actually encountered you down at Silver Ball, so I appreciate you. No, I just wanted to say that your hospitality down there at Silver Ball was actually one of the reasons I kept going back to Silver Ball. If it was closer, I'd actually probably be there all the time than driving down to Delray. But I was extremely jealous when I saw this on the agenda because I've actually been talking to my wife about an idea like this for about 6 months. So thank you for ruining my dreams. I appreciate it. I do think that it would be great. I'll be one of your first customers through the door. So thank you for bringing this there, especially in an area of the city that might get a little lost right there on Federal Highway. So I thoroughly appreciate that. My question with your build out and kind of your timeline for it. Based on your current construction work, when do you anticipate actually completion of this if you were actually granted this funding?
If everything works according to our plan, we're looking at 6 to 7 weeks build out is what we're looking for. The CRA money would really help because these games are expensive. So, I have to acquire all these games and I will over time as us being open, but probably six to 8 weeks, let's say.
Thank you.
So as a neighbor, I am very excited about this. But I worry about the location because it's going, trying to get that occupied. So my question is really for the both of you because is this a partnership, the two of you? So if he struggles, you'll be there to help and not evict and so forth, because I could see a ramp up time being a little challenging at that location. That would bring a lot more opportunity in that intersection if you have a successful business there. So just really pulling for it, right?
So technically, Jimmy probably should have started paying rent 9 months ago. But
Right.
yeah, so I'm invested. I know long term, this is the answer for that spot. Whereas I could have signed up hookah bars and other lounges that I don't want.
Thank you.
So, when I came before the committee they made me go through the alcohol waiver thing again. Development services and code enforcement in the city is a challenge to me. I stress to them that this is the guy for that space because this is the long-term answer that I feel once his doors are open, he'll be paying rent. I feel like he'll be paying rent for a long time because it's a concept that I think would do great in Lake Worth. There's not many places, unfortunately, that draw people in or draw families in. I'm not saying late night, but earlier in the day. I mean, downtown Delray has things, downtown West Palm Beach has things. There's no real draws in downtown Lake Worth Beach, and it's unfortunate because I'm committed to the city. I want to see things get better, and I appreciate all the developments you guys keep pushing through and getting done, but it's frustrating that we need more places for families to come to and keep that vibe going in the city.
So I don't have kids. I mean, they're all grown. I do have kids. They're all grown. But just walking down, coming in, having a drink, playing a few games. That's kind of what you're going for, right? And I usually want food with my drinks. So obviously there's two restaurants right next door. So there'll be some sort of partnership there.
So the pizzeria at 127 is actually part of this property that I own. So
Okay.
it's kind of like, in my opinion, my other tenant's going to be able to sell pizzas
Great.
to my other tenant. There also is a Jamaican restaurant that is open in the evenings, but I've never tried his food. Apparently, he has a big following on Instagram, and people come all over to eat
the
it.
jerk
But
chicken pasta.
see, if you've had it, then you know. So it's another thing where one business can help others, and I feel like more of that's needed in the downtown district and in Lake Worth. So.
I love your approach. Thanks.
Thank you. So another question about timing. Where are you in the process of the permits?
The permit's been approved by the city. The last I was,
Congratulations.
thank you. It was a long road, very long road. Yeah. But from what my understanding, fire department, just based on my plans to see if I need to rearrange the sprinklers that are already there, if they're sufficient for, which I don't, the Charlie over at Plan Review said it shouldn't be a problem. It's standard. You're not doing anything drastic where they're going to ask you to move the sprinklers or anything. It's
So is
just,
that the county then?
yeah, just waiting on them. They're the final check on the list and I can do my build out.
So that's all that's left over there to give you.
Yeah, Plan Review approved it, city approved it, alcohol waiver was approved, everything is green lighted. And hopefully the CRA would green light me too.
Nice.
It's good to know that.
That's the question.
Challenging component there. Get that all over.
Regarding the barcade
Sure.
concept, how do you handle the children, that are gonna come in? I understand there may be people drinking at the bar, but the arcade section will be separate, whether you would allow the children. Is there separation where the kids wouldn't be in the bar area, or how is that?
Right. Just like boomers everywhere, adults like to relax, maybe watch TV for a minute, grab a drink, maybe grab some food, let the kids run loose. So we try to control liability. We, no running. We always have someone on the floor because kids like to run. They like to run around and there's no stopping them. So when the camps come in and stuff, we ask the counselors to stay with the children. Usually when we do bigger events, we kind of do a rundown about safety and stuff like that. We usually have one exit, so that way they can't walk out without, going past the parents or if they're sitting at the bar. So the way the location's designed, I don't know if you've been in there, it's a big U. Right. So the bar is the front part, you go into the right, and the back is a big area where the games would be. I'm opening up a wall so you can see across. And we can, as employees, not have to walk all the way around. We could walk through the wall that I'm opening up to be able to see it. So there is separation from the alcohol. And we are making it so the only way out is the same way you entered in, unless an emergency. We have two other exits. But
Carla, can I ask one more? Sure. Thanks. So I'm looking at the drawings. So are the drawings that you have in your submission? It is green, but gotta maybe lick the.
You mean with
phone
that we submitted to the city
that we're
for the plan review? It doesn't actually outline where the game placement would be.
just see. It's a nice big area.
Yes.
Like it's on the northern half of the floor.
Right.
Right, and then a long bar on the south side of the space.
Right.
Because you have the other door that comes in basically on that whole south end of the east facade.
And on that plan review, if you see the smaller bar on the north side that you're referencing, that wall is enclosed right now. We're opening that wall up.
Concrete block wall that you're going to be repaired, remediation because there's a floor above and all
right.
that.
Yep.
So, okay. And so the way that's showing, it looks like it's a good separation between the arcade area and the bar. On the other side, it looks like there is a bar, but is that just for?
We're calling it more of a service counter. Nothing's going to be prepared there. We don't want to dig up the ground, move plumbing and do all that. It's just a whole nother, it's just simple. It's just going to be a service counter. Our ADA will be on that side. So we'll have a little drop down for the ADA.
So there are all plans that you have there, all your life safety and exit signs and.
Exit signs and everything, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been a challenge, and there isn't a lot of parking there, but there is parking in that area anyway.
Yeah, and in every downtown area, you experience that. If you go downtown, you know, you got to figure it out.
Great. It's gonna work out good and.
I hope so. You know, like I said, the big thing is the renovation. It's, you know, if you see in the pictures, we tore everything out. You know, I didn't want to go in there and just do what everybody else did, and unfortunately, we ripped it all out. We just kept finding problem after problem after
Really
problem.
to do that because that's, you run into your problem, you don't know what you're getting into if you don't expose it.
Right. So he's happy. I'm happy. We hope the city's happy with what we're doing. We hope the CRA will support us and maybe bring this to light, and it will be a positive thing. And maybe hopefully as well, you do events, charitable events there. We do a lot for the city of Delray. So
Any questions? No public hearing comments. So ready for a motion if you like.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Seconds.
I'm sorry. Yes. Go
Go ahead.
My question is actually of Chris. So I saw staff recommendation is for June of 27. Is that a specific reason because of the way? Okay.
Yeah, we just wanted, it's a year from now.
Yeah.
Yes. That was
Okay.
quicker, the sooner the better.
Sure.
You have a motion and a second. Second. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll say.
Okay. Now,
Yes, I was saying.
and even though we noticed that there isn't anyone here for public comment, I do have to say, if you'd like to make a public comment, step up. And I think that we've had pretty much discussion. Did you want to discuss it further? Or are you ready for?
I just want to say for the record, the motion is to approve staff's recommendation as presented,
Yes,
correct?
we have to say that.
Okay.
And so at this time, we'll have a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any dissenters? Passed unanimously.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fireball.
Was I wearing a boat? I just had the vest on.
Fireball.
Oh, yeah.
At this time, we'll have.
That's like getting to, sorry.
No.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
This time we'll have our executive director's report.
Just a few things to let you know about. Just Add Creative, which is located pretty close to Hatch, is having an Art and Wellness Fest on June 13th at 2 p.m. at Hatch. Just saw that. Grand opening for the Dominican spot where you can wear your shirts, June 17th at 3:30 at 109 South Dixie. Again, we have a home dedication for Habitat on June 25th, 10 a.m. 204 South East Street. It'd be great if any of you can come. And Find Your Flavor, Find It Downtown. We do have postcards that are now in Spanish. So if you would like to have any of those to distribute, we'd be very gracious. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, at any time, do we have any board member comments? If not, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. So second.
Second, all right.
I vote to see.
All those
Yes,
in favor?
indeed.
Aye.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn 7:14.